China backs Russia after Wagner rebelled against Putin. China showed its support for Russia in a brief coup d'état that constituted the biggest challenge to Vladimir Putin's 23-year rule. Putin is a close ally of Chinese leader Xi Jinping in his effort to forge a new world order and alliance against the United States. Beijing made its first comment on what Putin called a military coup a day after the warlord of Wagnerian mercenaries, Yevgeny Prigozhin, returned from a Moscow march that ended a brief but chaotic uprising. "This is Russia's interior," a spokesperson for the Chinese Foreign Ministry said in a brief statement posted online Sunday night. In the letter numbered, China, Russia's close friend and collaborative partner in the new era, supports Russia in ensuring national security, in achieving development and success. Beijing's planned public statements came long after brief protests subsided, as Prigozhin struck a deal with the Kremlin to withdraw his reportedly impeached opponents in Belarus on Saturday. The news came after Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Andrei Rudenko flew to Beijing on Sunday to meet with Chinese leaders and reaffirmed the two sides' friendship and political convictions. Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang and Rudenko discuss Sino-Russian relations and issues of international and regional concern. The Russian Foreign Ministry said that Rudenko also held talks with Chinese Deputy Foreign Minister Ma Zhaoxiu. The Chinese government expresses its support for the efforts of the leadership of the Russian Federation to stabilize the country's situation in relation to the June 24 incident and reiterates its interest in supporting Russia's unity and further progress, the Russian ministry said in a statement. According to the China briefing, Jack Ma told Rudenko that under the leadership of Xi Jinping and Putin, mutual trust and cooperation between China and Russia continues to flourish. As the international situation is difficult and serious, the leaders of the two countries must deliver the important agreement in a timely manner, in order to ensure the long-term stability of the relationship and protect the well-being of the two countries. It's in the interest of both parties, said Ma Yun. According to China's most powerful leader in many years, in February 2022, shortly before Putin launched war on Ukraine, the two leaders' administrations, despite unlimited complaints, China refused. An attack that infuriates Western peoples, especially European countries, who need various rhetoric and financial support to punish the invasion and change provided to Russia. It is repairing relations with the rest of Europe, but maintaining relations with Moscow. In March, Xi Jinping and Putin reaffirmed their conflicting beliefs in the United States and agreed on many issues during the Chinese leader's first visit to Russia since the country was in trouble. Some changes are happening now. We haven't seen such changes in a century, and we're driving them together, Xi said as he bid farewell to Putin at the Kremlin gate. 3 months ago, many drivers of Xi Jinping's vision saw him seize power in an extraordinary coup, and all the ruling Russian leaders worked hard to lead. Song Wenti, a political scientist at the Australian National University Taiwan Studies program, said that Wagner rebelled against the narrative that Putin is a strong leader with the full support of the people, and will be the leader of China for a long time. The world's most beloved duo. If Putin's administration is unstable, it is bad to support him. Even most Chinese academics, experts, and commentators have not overlooked the weakness of Putin's dominance. Jean Sonrong, professor of international relations at Renmin University in Beijing, wrote on Weibo on Sunday that Wagner protested, even though Russia's nightmare was over for a while yesterday. This event will tarnish the image of Russia and Putin. It's a trending topic on the weekend. King, a government spokesman known for his anti-American rhetoric, described the sudden event as surreal. State support and control of large non-state armed groups is very dangerous, a pathology that could happen at any time, he wrote. Before Prigozhin's coup on Saturday, Hu Xijin, former editor of the nationalist Global Times, commented on Twitter, "The military coup has pushed Russia's political system beyond the tipping point." The mercenary group Wagner's that weakened Russian President Vladimir Putin, according to the Global Economy. On Monday, investors focused on whether the short-term attack on Russia was just the beginning of a deep lightning strike that will affect Russia. The economy and market stability, Greg Basak, managing director of AXS Investments in New York, told MarketWatch on Sunday in an emailed message. Dow Jones Industrial Average Futures rose 75 points. S&P 500 futures rose 0.2% and Nasdaq 100 futures rose 0.3%. Global equities fell last week as the European Central Bank raised interest rates, fueling recession fears. In the USA, the US S&P 500 posted a 5-week winning streak, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average and Nasdaq Composite also fell. Watch. Russia's short-term attack may have long-term consequences for Putin, as Prigozhin's whereabouts are in doubt. China has the world's largest nuclear arsenal. This raises very deep questions. It shows that the cracks are real, said U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said on CBS News, Face the Nation, Sunday morning. Benjamin Friedman, director of the Washington-based Foreign Policy Institute, said Putin's stay in power was clearer than a few days ago, but that there is still no clear challenge to replace him by election or resignation. Still, Friedman told MarketWatch that the war in Ukraine weakened Russia in every way, including creating internal problems and dangerous discontent among elites with some power. The understanding that Putin is unjust and weak is growing and creating his own reality. It is dangerous for him. It is difficult to predict how power will be increased and conflicts will arise. C. Russia's short-term offensive could have long-term consequences for Putin as Prigozhin's dubious location. Volatile bloodbath? Basak of AXS Investments said that more violence could lead to wild competition in the market due to the impact on the war in Ukraine, the shift in the balance of the G8 superpowers, and the potential rise of the United States. United States and international trade. Analysts warn that the increase in volatility is too late. The CBOE Volatility Index, which measures expectations for the S&P 500 over the next 30 days, fell to its lowest level since January 2020 last week. It closed below 14 on Friday. For a long time, close to 20. The S&P 500 gained more than 13% last year, but performance was weak, which some market watchers see as a sign of interest. Read Why the Stock Market Rally is Easy Money and What's Next. Not a coincidence, potential CEO Mark Chandler, said the capital market will rebound when the economy starts up again. When intelligence is that Putin is showing weakness, the Russian leader is often said to disagree. The war in Ukraine appears to be uninterrupted and Kiev's attacks seem silent so far. Kiev is at risk if it uses medium and long-range missiles to attack Russian assets in Crimea, and perhaps even Russia itself. The war continues. Climbing, Chandler said. Led by Yevgeny Prigozhin, head of the Wagner Group, the rebellion saw mercenaries capture the Russian army's headquarters in Rostov-on-Don with little resistance, after which LAF marched unopposed to Moscow. Putin did not mention Prigozhin by name, instead accusing Prigozhin of treason. The attack was only 120 kilometers from the city, and Prigozhin immediately cancelled the agreement, sent him to Belarus and filed a criminal complaint for military action. Based on Saturday's events, analysts warned that continued conflict could lead to a flight to assets as the market reopens for assets like the U.S. Treasury bonds, US dollars, and other safe haven currencies such as yen, Swiss franc, and gold. Dollar was little changed against its main rivals on Sunday evening, when gold for August delivery rose 0.2%. All eyes on oil. Meanwhile, wild swings have been seen in stocks and financial markets since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24, 2022. The occupation shocked world powers. Russia is the world's third-largest oil producer after the United States. And Saudi Arabia are also major suppliers of crude oil to Western Europe. Crude oil futures rose sharply after the invasion, with world standard Brent rising below $140 a barrel in March 2022, after closing at $94.05 on the eve of the invasion. Gasoline prices also soared on fears of famine, which forced European governments to write their winter forecasts for the winter of 2022-23. Energy price is back. Crude oil is trading well below pre-invasion levels. Russian oil supplies remain strong, despite restrictions imposed by the European and American governments and ceilings aimed at limiting Moscow's ability to raise state funds. Oil prices rose Sunday night, with WTI up 87 cents, or 1%. Brent crude rose 3% to $70.03 a barrel, while Brent rose 91 cents, or 1.2%, to $74.76 a barrel. August Brent closed at $73 on Friday. $85 per barrel, down 3.6% from last week. U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate crude for August fell 3 points. They were up 9% last week to settle at $69.16 a barrel on Friday. Jorge Leon, Senior Vice President of Rystad Energy, points out that over the past 35 years, the region's impact on major oil producers has led to an average of 8% increase in oil futures over the next 5 days. The beginning of the activity, see figure below. Given the rate at which the attack was suppressed, an increase of this magnitude seems unlikely, he said.